Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So big breaking news, to give you an update on is in regards to Lazio's Serge Milkovic Savic, or however you currently pronounce his name. Now reportedly Manchester United have identified him as a replacement for Paul Pogba and all. I think Manchester United have been linked to him for the past year and all that. I was reading reports about this yesterday, and it did reportedly say that Lazio wanted in the region of around 108 million pounds and all that. I think it did say over the course of the weekend that Serge Milkovic Savic's agent had travelled to England, to hold negotiations with Manchester United and all that over possibly getting a deal concluded. I don't think Manchester United would be willing to pay up to 108 million pounds for his services, so I think he probably would cost us in the excess around 80 million pounds. Do you think he would be a good adequate replacement for Paul Pogba? Obviously he's only 24 years of age, so he would fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly. He's also very tall, which is very beneficial. I think he is about 6'3", and of course he is Serbian, and I think he has been at Lazio about 4 years as Serge Milkovic Savic, and I think in Serie A he's made about 125 appearances, and I think he has scored about 22 goals. I think his performances have been inconsistent in the last 5 or 6 months, but I think he's got immense talent. I think he's also a box-to-box midfielder and all that. I think quite a few other teams have been inquired about his services, so I think Manchester United are set to hold negotiations with his agent. I do believe his agent is actually now in the UK, because he did fly to the UK over the course of the weekend, so I think Manchester United are set to hold talks with his current agent. I still believe he is under contract with Lazio until 2023, but overall in his 4-year period with Lazio, his performances have been really good. His tenacity, and that's really good. Obviously, hasn't played in the Premier League as yet, but I think we've identified him now as our #1 target, to replace Paul Pogba at the football club. But there has been so many players on our current agenda, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has worked out his transfer strategy for this summer. Obviously, he wants to develop a squad of young, hungry, homegrown talents, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes he's following a policy that proved successful under Alex Ferguson. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's policy is getting the pursuit, of course, of young players. Like I did say, for the entirety of this window so far, we have been mainly focusing on the incomings, but I think we've got to sell players, to help us generate funds and rebuild the squad and all that. So I think initially, we're obviously orchestrating on selling Paul Pogba, then generating the funds from Paul Pogba's departure, and then of course putting them funds on Serge Milkovic Savic and all that. But he did say yesterday that Lazio were demanding around 108 million pounds. I think he was worth around 100 million pounds last summer. I think that's what he was rated at. But I think he's been at Manchester United. I think he's been linked with Manchester United now for the year, so he has been relentlessly linked to move to the club. I haven't heard a lot of rumours about Serge Milkovic Savic for a very long time, but the rumours have come out again saying that Manchester United are currently in for him. But I do believe he can score goals, as he has demonstrated in his 4-year period with Lazio. He can also create. I think he's really good at creating chances, and probably would have all the attributes to come and succeed in the Premier League with this current player. But we do know so far this summer that we have got 2 players on the board. Obviously it's our first 2 signings under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Obviously we've got Daniel James, we've got Wan-Bissaka. Obviously that's taken Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's net spend up to around 65 million pounds this summer, because we paid 18 million for Daniel James. We got Wan-Bissaka in a deal worth around 50 million pounds. So obviously now Solskjaer's going to want to build on this, and I do believe he's going to want to win at least 3 more new additions to the squad. And obviously I do believe now his priorities are to get an experienced centre half in, and obviously you want to add reinforcements in that midfield. And even if Paul Pogba wasn't going to be leaving the football club, I still think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans anyway, to add a couple of reinforcements in that current midfield. Also we still need a winner, so these are still lots to address in the squad. Without a shadow of a doubt, there's still a hell of a lot to address in the squad, but we've got to get the right players to Manchester United this summer, that can elevate us forward and get us back, of course, to being a competitive elite level football club. And obviously we've only been given 100 million pounds to spend allegedly. It provided a reason when it said about 3 weeks ago why we'd only been given 100 million pounds, because obviously we're not in a Champions League football for next season. So I think we have got to sell players to help us generate funds and of course rebuild the squad and all that. But Solskjaer did initially say, he wants to bring at least 5 new additions to Manchester United. But like I said, we're not in Champions League football for next season. We are competing in the Europa League next season, so it is going to be hard for us to attract players to the elite level, and it's also going to be hard for us, to convince our imperative, players to stay at the football club. And quite a few people said, we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer. But yeah, so far, we have got 2 players on the board. I did say last week, that I wanted us to get 2 signings, completed, but obviously, my hopes went out the window. Obviously, it has confirmed now that we are on pre-season tour and all that. But yeah, I think that, we need to see vast improvements going into this season, because last season was a huge disappointment. Obviously, we finished 6th. We didn't win many silverware. Obviously, it went really, really well when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager in that 3-month period and all that. The results were good. The performances were good. Expectations levels were exceeded and all that. And it went really, really well. And it has seemed to have all gone on, since he has currently got the job permanently. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. There's only 2 players that have Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's that we've bought so far this summer, and that's Daniel James and of course Wan-Bissaka. But the rest of the squad, of course, isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's and all that. But I think our expectations going into this season probably will be to finish in the top 4. People have said, if we can get the right players to Manchester United this summer, they do believe we can mount a title challenge up next season, or even win the league next season. But I don't see that currently happening, to be quite honest, because obviously City strides ahead of us. Obviously, Liverpool and that are strides ahead of us at the moment. So it's very imperative that we catch up with like Manchester City and Liverpool and all that. It's very, very imperative indeed. But I think we are moving away from the policy, of signing them well-established players and all that. But like I said about this Serge Milkovic-Savic, I think his name's hard to pronounce, but I'm on about he plays for Lazio. Manchester United now reportedly identified him we've identified him, I think, as one of our number 1 targets to replace Paul Pogba at the football club and all that. Because we do know it's looking very, very imminent that Paul Pogba is going to be leaving Manchester United, as you all know. Obviously, Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, did confirm on Friday of last week. He basically said that, Paul Pogba is in the process of leaving Manchester United. Obviously, he was absent from training last week. He has gone on tour, pre-season tour with the rest of the squad, as that did confirm. But when he was absent from pre-season training last week, that added more speculation in regards to Paul Pogba's, long-term future with Manchester United. But obviously, Paul Pogba did, he came out last month, reports suggested out last month saying that Paul Pogba is seeking for a new challenge. He wants to rejuvenate his career, and he publicly admitted, of course, that he does want to leave Manchester United and all that. And we do know Paul Pogba's been relentlessly linked to a move away from the club. We do know it's Real Madrid and Juventus, of course, that are battling out for his services. Obviously, we have put a huge transfer fee on Paul Pogba. We've said he's not for sale, but we've indicated out, we would accept a bid in the region around £150 million. Obviously, Real Madrid are not willing to pay up to £150 million for Paul Pogba. So this is why he did say Real Madrid are really are desperate to this is why Real Madrid are desperate to include Gareth Bale as part of their bid to sign Paul Pogba. So it can convince us to lower our asking price, or maybe even Real Madrid are going to try and offload a couple of their players, to help them generate funds and obviously fund the move for Paul Pogba. But Real Madrid did say they're not keen on a straight cash payment. I also did say last week that Real Madrid were willing to offer us £72 million, plus they were going to give us the choice between Bale or Isco in exchange for Paul Pogba. But I think it's very unlikely that Manchester United will entertain this offer and all that. So if Paul Pogba does go to Real Madrid, Bale could be still part of the deal and all that, because obviously Bale is one of the players that Real Madrid do want to offload. But for a long time, Paul Pogba's first choice preference has been Real Madrid. Obviously his likely destination, of course, has been Real Madrid. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done everything he can to try and convince Paul Pogba to remain at the football club. He did admit he tried offering him the vice captaincy in a bid to convince him to remain at the football club. And he's done everything he can, and I think it's been initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan, to actually build a side around Paul Pogba. But maybe the couple of main factors why Paul Pogba wants to leave the football club, because maybe he's frustrated with the lack of competitiveness at Manchester United. Obviously, we're not in Champions League football. Obviously, we're not winning that much, and all that. And this is why this is a couple of main factors why he probably wants to leave the club. And maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players, because he probably feels as though he's not playing amongst good enough players at Manchester United. Obviously, we do know so far this summer that Real Madrid have got 5 players on the board. They've spent over 300 odd million pounds, so they are doing really good business this summer. Real Madrid. So they've spent over 300 odd million pounds. The vast majority of that, of course, went on Eden Hazard, who of course Real Madrid paid 150 million pounds for. Like I said, I think also Christian Eriksen is on Real Madrid's agenda, and probably Christian Eriksen would be a cheaper solution for Real Madrid than Paul Pogba. But I do believe Zinedine Zidane has identified, Paul Pogba as his number one target. We do know Juventus have stepped their interest up. Now, I've just been reading recent reports as at the same time as I was reading the news about Serge Milikovic-Savic. It did reportedly say now that Juventus are preparing to put around £120 million bid in for Paul Pogba and all that. Obviously, this will obviously be too insufficient for Manchester United, because we said we want around £150 million. But maybe Juventus are willing to offer one or two of their players, to fund the move for Paul Pogba. Because like I did say, I don't think Juventus would be able to afford Paul Pogba outright. Obviously, I think negotiations have begun, between Manchester United and Real Madrid and all that. I think Manchester United have also had talks with Juventus in regards to Paul Pogba. But like I said, recently the Juventus director, he came out, did the Juventus director, he basically said, of how much, Juventus love Paul Pogba, because he did have 4 good years in Turin. He exceeded expectation levels, but he hasn't really replicated this form since he did make the return to Manchester United. Obviously, we paid £89 million for him, our most expensive signing. Obviously, he is one of the highest paid players at the club, because he's got 2 years left in his contract with an option to extend it by a further year. And like I said, he's one of the highest paid players at the club, because he's on around £290,000 a week and all that. Is Paul Pogba. But like he said, reports indicated out last month, he's seeking for a new challenge, and he publicly, admitted, that he wants to leave Manchester United. Juventus have had negotiations with his agent Mini Raiola. It confirmed about 2 or 3 weeks ago that the Juventus director had travelled to London, to hold more talks with Manchester United of the possibility of re-signing Paul Pogba and all that. But like I did say, even though Paul Pogba hasn't been the fundamental player as we all thought he would have been, I'd still say in this market at this day and age, he's worth in the region of around 140 or 150 million pounds. Like I said, Juventus are doing good business this summer. They're doing really, really well this summer. My Juventus, they've got, looking at, they're going to get De Ligt on the board. I think they've got Rabiot on the board. They've obviously got Aaron Ramsey and that on the board. So I think it did say Juventus are willing to offer us a couple of their players. It did say one of the players that was willing to offer us was Paul Dybala. Obviously, he's been relentlessly linked to a move to Manchester United. Obviously, there's been talks about Alexandro and that from Juventus, who they could, currently offer us as part of the deal for Paul Pogba and all that. But like I said, I think we should get rid of Paul Pogba, because I think it will help us with our rebuilding process. It will help us with our transition. And I think we sell Pogba and Lukaku, I think we can generate around, £200 million, of course, for their departures. But we have put hefty price tags on Lukaku and Paul Pogba and all that. But it's very essential that we do get an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. But Paul Pogba, he's 26 years of age, as you all know, so he's still in his prime. He has still got a hell of a lot of development minimum and all that, and he's arguably still one of the best midfielders in world football. We have seen glimpses of Paul Pogba's best form. We mainly saw it in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. That's when we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba. Yeah, because obviously we mainly saw the best of Pogba as well when Ander Herrera was playing, and Paul Pogba at the time in that 3-month period was in titillating form, because Ander Herrera was freeing him up and all that, and his stats were very impressive last season. Paul Pogba made 47 appearances, I think, for the club in all competitions last season, and I think he scored around 16 goals, provided 11 assists. I think since he rejoined Manchester United in 2016, I think he's scored 31 goals in 135 games. Obviously, it came out the other week saying that we was willing to offer Paul Pogba a long-term contract, worth up to around £500,000 a week again, to try and convince him to remain at the football club. But Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, has been, at least in the last 2, maybe 3 months, he's been in the process of finding Paul Pogba a new club. But for a long time, his likely destination, of course, has been Real Madrid, because he did classify Real Madrid as one of the biggest clubs in the world, and he did pinpoint out at some point in his career, he does want to currently play for Real Madrid. And I think he's keen on playing under Zinedine Zidane's guidance. So Real Madrid probably will be looking to offload a couple of their players, to help them generate funds, to meet that £150 million valuation. But like I said, initially, Real Madrid are reluctant, to pay up to £150 million. But Paul Pogba's confirmed he wants to leave the club. With Manchester United, of course, he's won the Europa League. Of course, he's won the League Cup. Obviously, that came in his second season with Manchester United. And obviously, he's been subject to a lot of transfer speculation, especially last year under the Jose Mourinho era. Paul Pogba was subject to a lot of transfer speculation because he had a poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. And obviously, there was talks of him going to Juventus last year. There was also talks about him going to Barcelona, going to Barcelona in January. And Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes, of course, when Jose Mourinho, left the football club. But like I said, he's been relentlessly, linked to a move to Real Madrid in Juventus. So do you believe that Serge Milkovic-Savic, will be a good replacement for Paul Pogba? Because obviously, when we do sell Paul Pogba, even if we don't get £150 million, I think we're going to get over £100 million for his current departure. Then we can obviously, generate that money and then obviously, put that money on Serge Milkovic-Savic. So I think Manchester United are already in talks or set to hold talks with Serge Milkovic-Savic's agent and all that. And I do apologise if I have pronounced his current name wrong. Another player we've identified who could replace Paul Pogba at the football club is obviously not Saul Niguez from Atletico Madrid. Again, he's going to cost us a substantial amount. He's Saul Niguez, because I think Atletico Madrid, if they are willing to sell him, they will demand his release clause to be triggered. And his release clause is a staggering amount of money. I think his release clause must be around £135 million. Saul Niguez is actually the same age as Serge Milkovic-Savic. He's 24 years of age. Obviously, Saul Niguez has obviously spent the entirety of his career at Atletico Madrid. Obviously, graduated from their youth system, and I think he's gone on to make over 200 odd appearances for Atletico Madrid. To make over 200 appearances for Atletico Madrid. I think he plays a central, more a defensive midfield. I think Manchester United have been in negotiations with his representatives over the possible move to Old Trafford this summer. So he did say we've identified him as a possible replacement for Paul Pogba. He's still under contract, I think, with Atletico Madrid till 2026. Is Saul Niguez, because obviously I think a couple of years ago he did sign a 9-year contract with Atletico Madrid, and he did sign a 9-year contract with Atletico Madrid, and I still think now he's got around 7 years remaining on his current deal and all that. I don't probably think he will see that 7-year. I don't think he will see the remaining of the 7 years of his current contract term now, because I think probably at one time he will want to move on, he will want to rejuvenate his career. But I think Manchester United are looking to trigger his current release clause that he's got in his contract with Atletico Madrid. So I think he's also been previously linked with a move to Manchester City as Saul Niguez. So do you think he would be a good replacement for Paul Pogba? But yeah, there's been so many midfielders on our agenda. I think we're also seeing Serge Milkovic-Savic as an actual replacement for Pogba, and I think we're also seeing him as an alternative to Bruno Fernandes, in case we don't get a deal fully finalised there for Bruno Fernandes. But I think it's very, very imperative that we do get this deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, his move to Manchester United has not been made official as yet. I think Bruno Fernandes' agent, I think, is set to fly out to Manchester, I think on Wednesday of this week, to hold more negotiations with Manchester United over coming to an agreement on a fee, because no fee has yet come to an agreement, between Manchester United and Sporting Lisbon, and the fee, seems to be the stumbling block at the moment. I think Sporting Lisbon have said they want around 60 or 70 million pounds, but I think, they would accept a bid in the region of around £53 million as a Sporting Lisbon president Federico Varandas has currently confirmed. But reportedly, we only want to pay around £32 million for Bruno Fernandes, as he did confirm last Monday that it came out from the Italian press saying that Manchester United had been in negotiations with Bruno Fernandes' representatives and all that, and he reportedly said Manchester United now have agreed the personal terms allegedly, and it reportedly says that Bruno Fernandes has also agreed a contract with Manchester United with around £100,000 a week. So I believe, allegedly, according to reports, the contract's been agreed, the personal terms have been agreed, but no fee has yet come to an agreement. So Manchester United have reached an agreement with Sporting Lisbon. Obviously came out last week saying that Bruno Fernandes' agent had actually allegedly travelled to London to allegedly thrash out a deal with Manchester United for his current client. So basically, Bruno Fernandes' agent is obviously looking for the best possible deal for his client. I still believe Tottenham are in there for Bruno Fernandes. I still believe that Liverpool are in there for Bruno Fernandes, even though reports allegedly said the other week that Tottenham and Liverpool had withdrawn their interest. So it did actually say, Manchester United are the only team in the running to sign Bruno Fernandes. But I believe, we have been considered, the favourites to sign Bruno Fernandes, at least for the last, 3 to 4 weeks, according to a ball at the Portuguese press. Obviously, talks have been constantly ongoing between Manchester United and Sporting Lisbon and his current agent and all that. So hopefully, we can get a deal fully finalised this week. But I think we are now seeing Serge Milkovic-Savic as an alternative to Bruno Fernandes, as well as a replacement for Paul Pogba. But I think it's very essential that we do get this deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes, because he has been one of our priority targets. I do believe he will be a good adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. Obviously, I think he signed a 5-year deal with Sporting Lisbon last summer, did Bruno Fernandes. I think his initial release clause is around £88 million. Like I said, still under contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. He's been at Sporting Lisbon a couple of years, so he has tied up in Portugal really, really well, and his performances have been really, really good. And I do believe he can come and replicate this if he does come to the Premier League without a shadow of a doubt. Obviously, spent the majority of his career in Italy when he was younger, the likes of Sampdoria, Udinese, Novia and all that. But I do believe Manchester United, I think it did say this was last week, that reportedly Bruno Fernandes has been introduced by our latest offer, because it says, like I said, he's agreed £100,000 a week contract. Obviously, that probably equates to around around 5 point something million pounds a year. But reportedly, Bruno Fernandes has been seduced by this current offer, and I think he's actually keen on making a move to Manchester United. So I do believe the Manchester United will hold more extensive talks. Bruno Fernandes, very young, 24 years of age, primarily I think an attacking midfield, but definitely Bruno Fernandes has been as them goals that we need. He can also create chances, he can also provide assists. I'd love him to come to the Premier League, because it would definitely rejuvenate his career. Reflecting back about 6 or 7 weeks ago, it was looking likely he was going to be going to Manchester City at one point, and all that. City had been in talks. City, I think, were only willing to pay around £47 million for him. City, I think, were willing to offload 1 or 2 of their players as part of the deal and all that. At one point, it was looking very, very likely he was going to be going to Manchester City and all that was Bruno Fernandes. But obviously now, as it has currently confirmed, City have withdrawn their interest, but I still believe Liverpool and Tottenham are in there for him. I think Liverpool and Tottenham have also held negotiations with his current agent and all that, but I still believe Manchester United are in the sense of getting a deal over the line for him. So yeah, there has been so many midfielders on our current agenda. I would say now that Youri Tielemans is definitely now out of the equation. Obviously now Manchester United have been in there for Youri Tielemans. I think now Leicester are on the brink of currently getting Youri Tielemans. So they're on the brink of getting Youri Tielemans, so I do believe now he's totally out of the equation. I'm still hearing Manchester United fans saying, they'd like James Maddison to come in, but we've also definitely got to get a replacement for Ander Herrera, and that's also very, very pivotal. So what midfield, what player do you think would be the good, adequate replacement for Paul Pogba? Let me know in the comments below. As I did say as well, Manchester United need a central defender. That's very, very essential indeed. We need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. I've heard some Manchester United fans say, that we need 2 central defenders, because obviously we know Smalling's not good enough. Obviously we know that Phil Jones and that is not good enough, but we need at least 1 central defender. There's still lots to address in the squad, and some people said it's actually more essential that we get a couple of additions in midfield and a right winger. So some people think that's more imperative, than getting a central defender. But we've got to get a central defender. We haven't had a world-class central defender since we had the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand. And look at what happened last season. We finished 6th. We missed out on the Champions League. We conceded 54 goals in the Premier League last season in 38 Premier League games, and that's our highest total, of course, in 40 years. So that just proves the issues, of course, that we've got defensively. But we need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof, because I was impressed with Victor Lindelof's performances last season. I think he really, really stepped up to the plate, did Victor Lindelof, in his second season with Manchester United. I thought in his first season he struggled for consistency, didn't really settle in, but I think Lindelof really settled in his second season. His distribution was good, he was showing that ability to play out from the back, his passing really, really good, and he played really, really well in his second season. So we just basically need someone that can complement him in our back line. But yeah, there has been so many on our current agenda, and reflecting back back last summer, our priority, of course, was to get a central defender in. But obviously, reflecting back last summer under the Jose Mourinho era, obviously, the board weren't backing the signs that Jose Mourinho, of course, wanted to recommend to come in to the football club. But yeah, as I updated on my previous video today, in regards to Matthijs de Ligt from Ajax and all that, obviously, as it did get confirmed, according to Matthijs de Ligt's agent, Mini Raiola, he's basically said now that Matthijs de Ligt has agreed personal terms with Juventus, and reportedly Matthijs de Ligt's agent has confirmed that reportedly, Matthijs de Ligt has agreed a 5-year deal with Juventus worth around £10 million a year, something like that. So I do believe that equates to around £230,000 a week. Obviously, as it has still confirmed, Manchester United are not totally out of the race yet. PSG are not totally out of the race yet, because obviously no fee has been agreed yet, between Juventus and Ajax, and obviously Juventus and Ajax are still having more, are still talks are still ongoing, between Juventus and Ajax over coming to an agreement on a fee. Obviously, it indicated out last month anywhere, allegedly, that Juventus had agreed personal terms with Matthijs de Ligt, but no fee has yet come to an agreement. It did say the talks had hit a stumbling block between Juventus and Ajax because obviously of the actual transfer fee. I think Juventus have actually made they've made their first offers. It did confirm last week. I think their offered was at around 45 million or something like that. But obviously this had been turned down by Ajax, because Ajax are obviously looking for somewhere in the region of around 67 million pounds. I think he said Juventus had offered another. I think they've put another bid in, haven't they? Something like that. I think they've offered around 50 million pounds, including add-ons and all that. But Ajax have basically said they want around 67 million pounds for him and all that. But I do believe Matthijs de Ligt's preference is actually a move to Juventus. He's obviously he wants to play under Maurizio Sarri's guidance at Juventus, but obviously no fee has yet come to an agreement. But Matthijs de Ligt has been subject to a lot of transfer speculation. So many teams have inquired about his services, and we do know it's been very imminent, of course, that he's going to be leaving Ajax, and we didn't know for a long time where he would have been playing his trade going on into this season. But I think with recent reports now, what they're basically saying, I think it's looking likely he's going to be making the move to Turin and all that. But actually reports are reflected out over the course of the weekend and all that, as I did update you on, and this was actually stemming from a French journalist called Julian Lawns, and he actually said that Manchester United and also PSG had an agreement in place with Ajax for Matthijs de Ligt. So this was stemming from Julian Lawns, who of course, however you pronounce his name, who of course is a French journalist. So there's still a possibility, chance that Manchester United are in there for him, because I do believe Man United and PSG are willing to meet what Ajax are currently demanding. But I do believe anywhere that Matthijs de Ligt does not want to make the move to Manchester United. I think he wants to go to a club that can offer him Champions League football. Obviously Manchester United can't offer Matthijs de Ligt Champions League football. I think he also wants to go to a club that can assure him first team football. Manchester United would be able to assure him first team football. Because I do believe, he would help us with our own rebuilding projects, but I just don't think he wants to make the move to Manchester United. Don't get me wrong, he'd blend in alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline fantastically well and all that. But like I said, I think Matthijs de Ligt, he's 19 years of age, he's very, very young, regarded as one of the best centre-halves in the world and all that. Obviously, I do believe in the next, 2 to 3 years' time, he can emulate him into like a Virgil van Dijk from Liverpool and all that. But obviously, him moving on, from Ajax, it's going to help him. It'll create a better platform for it. It'll also, help him with his developing process and all that. So, according to recent reports, it's looking likely he's going to be going to Juventus, because the terms have been agreed. He's agreed a 5-year deal worth around 10 million a year. That equates to around £230,000 a week. So, yeah, Juventus now are considered the favourites, to currently get him and all that. Like I said, I still believe that Barcelona are in there for him. Obviously, at one point, it was looking like Barcelona were going to get a deal over the line for him. Obviously, at one point, Matthijs de Ligt's first choice preference actually was Barcelona, because I think at that time, he was keen on reuniting with his current teammate Frankie de Jong. I think actually Frankie de Jong has actually urged Matthijs de Ligt to join him at Barcelona and all that. Obviously, it was looking very likely he was going to go to Barcelona, because at the time, even some reports were speculating out saying that a transfer fee had been agreed, between Barcelona and Ajax. But obviously, the stumbling block was actually, the terms, because they couldn't come to an agreement on the terms, and this is the factor reason why, because obviously Barcelona were not willing to meet, what de Ligt was demanding. They was also not willing to meet what his agent Mini Raiola and that was currently demanding. I think also Liverpool were in for him at one point. I said the main factor reason why Liverpool were in for him because obviously Virgil van Dijk and obviously Matt Stillett and Virgil van Dijk know each other really really well and all that. So I think that's the main factor reason why Liverpool were in for him. I think Bayern Munich were also in for him at one point, but he did confirm that Bayern Munich had withdrawn their interest. So he has been subject to a hell of a lot of transfer speculation. As Matty said, like I said, he's so far spent the entirety of his career with Ajax. He's been an Ajax player since the age of 8, the age of 9, progressing up the ranks, and he made his senior debut just the age of, I think it was the age of 16, I think he made his senior debut, and he was in 2016, he made his senior debut, and since he's broke into the first team with Ajax, he's become an integral part of their team. I do believe he became more of a first team starter for Ajax, of course, when Ajax, offloaded Davinson Sanchez to Tottenham, back in 2017, was it? And since he's got into the senior team, he's made 117 appearances for Ajax. Of course, he's the only defender as well, to win the Golden Boy Award. Obviously, he won this award, I think, last year, and obviously enjoyed a great season with Ajax last season and all that. I think he got named captain at the age of 18. He captained into the domestic double for the first time in 17 years. Also won the Eredivisie title with them, and of course progressed to the Champions League semi-final and all that. But very, very good player, very good in the air, holds his line, really, really well. And I'd love him, to come to Manchester United because he was one of our main priority targets, for quite some time. But obviously now I'd probably say now he's nearly out of the equation because I do believe he's going to be going to Juventus, but nothing's been fully finalised as yet because no figure's been agreed. But Riley has said that De Ligt wants to join Juventus, and he's basically said that De Ligt has agreed personal terms and that with Juventus and a contract, and that's been agreed, but no fee has yet come to an agreement. So if Juventus are willing to pay £67 million that Ajax are demanding, he will make the move to Juventus. And as I've been updating you on a regular basis in regards to Harry Maguire from Leicester and all that, I think now actually Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified Harry Maguire as his number one defensive target, as his number one defensive target and all that. Because obviously, reports were reflecting out last week saying that report that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had asked the British players in our squad, about their thoughts about Harry Maguire. Solskjaer had been giving good remarks. So I think now we're going to step our interest up in Harry Maguire. I think, like I said, Mike Phelan, of course, wants to recommend him into the club because obviously, Harry Maguire has played under Mike Phelan's guidance, during his time with Hull City. Because obviously, Mike Phelan had a short tenure with Hull, and obviously, he's managed Harry Maguire and all that. I think we are now in the clear anywhere to sign Harry Maguire because obviously, as it did confirm, I think yesterday, as he updated you on saying that Manchester City have now pulled out of the race for Harry Maguire because reportedly, they've pulled out of the race for Harry Maguire because obviously City are not willing to meet what Leicester are currently demanding. I do believe Leicester want around £85 million for him or something like that. But looking at it ultimately, Leicester don't want to sell Harry Maguire because obviously Leicester know how much an imperative player he is, and they don't want to sell him. And so this is the main factor reason why Leicester have priced him out of the transfer market, and of course this is why they are demanding an extortionate amount for the current player. But it has been mainly Manchester United and Manchester City battling out for his services. Obviously Sky Sports did report out last week. They did say obviously Manchester United had put a £70 million bid in for him. They did say Manchester United had put a £70 million bid in for him, but obviously this was insufficient for Leicester because obviously we do know that Leicester are looking for somewhere in the region of around £85 million. Also, Sky Sports did report out saying that talks have been ongoing, between Manchester United, between both Manchester clubs and Leicester, for several weeks, but no deal or no fee has yet, come to an agreement and all that. It did say the other week that Harry Maguire's preference is actually, to make a move to Manchester City because I do believe Harry Maguire, was keen on making a move to Manchester City and all that. And you can understand why he wanted to go to Manchester City because obviously, it will obviously rejuvenate his career. He believes he'll flourish under Pep Guardiola's guidance, like I said. Obviously, City are the dominant force in England at the moment, so you probably understand, why he does want to make the move to Manchester City. He did say the other week that City was set to sign him for the world record fee of £80 million, and it also says they was willing to pay him a salary of around £280,000 a week, but obviously City have pulled out of the race because they're not willing to meet what Leicester are currently demanding, and obviously City have identified Harry Harry Maguire as their number one target, to actually, replace Vincent Kompany and all that. But I'd love him at Manchester United, Harry Maguire. I really, really would. I think he'd blend in alongside Lindelof in our backline really, really well. Obviously, Harry Maguire is Premier League proven. He has been at Leicester a couple of seasons, but I do believe Harry Maguire has informed Leicester that he wants to currently leave, and he's indicated out, that he wants to go to one of the top six clubs. But he's been at Leicester 2 years. He's made 76 appearances for them in all competitions. Obviously, 69 of those appearances have come in the Premier League. He signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so he is in the contract with them until 2023. Leicester did pay around £17 million for his services from Hull City. He did serve a couple of years with Hull, and he actually began his career with Sheffield United as a youngster and all that. And plus he's British, and there's been quite a few British players on our current agenda, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit British talents to Manchester United this summer. But I do really like him. His distribution's good. He shows that ability to power from the back. He holds his line well. He's also very, very good in the air. Is Harry Maguire, and I'd love him at Manchester United. I know he's not really fast, but I don't think that's a potential issue. But I do believe now we are in the clear, to currently sign him. Allegedly said the other week that we'd actually ended our interest in Harry Maguire, because it said the other week that Leicester wanted around £100 million. It did say they wanted 90 million up front, over 10 million in add-ons and all that. But I think it would be fantastic for Manchester United. And 26, still got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him. So probably Harry Maguire now does believe it's the right time for him to, rejuvenate his career and take his, footballing career to the next level and all that. But yeah, do really, really like him indeed. But like I said, some have said, we need two central defenders, because obviously, like I said, Small and Jones are not good enough. Some people say maybe even one central defender we only need, because we've got Eric Bailly. But I think with Eric Bailly, I think he's a very imperative player, but I think his Manchester United career has been mainly affected, the amount of injuries sustained, obviously, with his fallout on the managers. I think it's really had a bad effect on Eric Bailly's career with Manchester United. He has been at Manchester United now 3 years. But yeah, I probably think we need, like I said, at least one central defender. Obviously, there's still people, talking about Toby Alderweireld from Tottenham. Nah, I don't think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to be quite honest, to recommend Toby Alderweireld in. Even I still think he'd be a great upgrade in our current defence and all that, with Alderweireld. He would be a great upgrade in our defence of what we've currently got. He's proven in the Premier League. Obviously, looking at it from a financial point of view, he's going to substantially cost us a lot less than Harry Maguire. He's going to substantially cost us a lot less than Koulibaly from Napoli. He's also going to substantially cost us a lot less than Issa Diop from West Ham and all that. But I've got reservations about Alderweireld now, because obviously he's lost that yard of pace and all that. And he has proven his 4-year period with Tottenham that he can be a world-class central defender. But he is now 30 years of age, and he is available for £25 million this summer. He's Toby Alderweireld. Obviously, he's refused to sign a new contract with Tottenham. But Manchester United, were actually in for Alderweireld last summer. And but I don't think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to currently recommend it in. I'd say, like I said, Koulibaly now is totally out of the equation. I don't think he's coming in now, because I think Napoli have looked at, to offload him. I've been updating you about Issa Diop, haven't I? And I think, a lot of reports were reflecting out last week about Issa Diop, and it was basically saying that, we reportedly, were willing to put our first formal offer in for him, and it did say we was willing to offer around, £45 million for Issa Diop. Obviously, reports indicated out last month saying that, we'd put around a player, we made a player plus cash offer. It did say last month, it said we'd offered 45 million, plus we included Phil Jones as part of the deal. But obviously, West Ham had instantly turned this down, because looking at ultimately, West Ham don't want to sell his Diop, but it did say it would take probably a bid in the excess of around £60 million if West Ham are willing to currently offload him. He's proven in the Premier League again, very, very tall, which is very, very beneficial. I think he's about 6'4", only had 22 years of age, got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him. Obviously, I think he played about 38 games for West Ham in all competitions last season. 33 of them came in the Premier League. West Ham did get him last summer from Toulouse for around £22 million. So obviously, we do know that Issa Diop, of course, has been on our agenda. So what central defender, would you recommend in to Manchester United? But I do believe it's been looking likely, that our next two signings are probably, well, what it's been, looking like is probably going to be, Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon and Sean Longstaff from Newcastle. But I think there has now been a bit of change of scenery, about Sean Longstaff from Newcastle and all that. Because as you all do currently know about Sean Longstaff now, Newcastle have recently indicated out now that he's not for sale. And it did, I think Sky Sports News, did get informed he's going to cost us around £50 million at least, and I think now this could make us withdraw our interest in the player, because I don't think Manchester United would be willing to pay £50 million for Sean Longstaff, and if we did pay that, that would be bad business for Manchester United, and I think that would be also a bad business from Ed Woodward. Obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has instructed Manchester United to get a deal secured for Sean Longstaff. It did say we are preparing to put a bid in the region of around £30 million for Sean Longstaff's services, but again I think this is going to be too insufficient for Newcastle, because they're standing firm, they're being ruthless, and they've basically said they want at least around £50 million. I thought initially we had been given a boost in our pursuit of Sean Longstaff, following the departure of Rafael Benitez, but Sean Longstaff he's got a bit of experience under his belt, but he's not highly experienced, like Bruno Fernandes. The difference is with Bruno Fernandes, if he comes to Manchester United, he's going to get a shot to get straight into the first team. Sean Longstaff, I'd be very, very sceptical, about Sean Longstaff, getting straight into the first team and all that. Sort of similar thing, with Daniel James. We've got him on the board, but I'm sceptical about Daniel James again, getting straight into the first team or, guaranteed first team football week in, week out. I don't think Daniel James will be guaranteed to get into the team, week in, week out and all that. We know with Wan-Bissaka, he's going to get, he's going to be a first choice, going on into this season and all that. But I just don't think Sean Longstaff is worth £50 million. Obviously, last season was his first season in the senior squad with Newcastle. Obviously, he made his debut in December of last year. I think he also signed a 4-year contract in December of last year, so he's under contract with Newcastle until 2022. I think he flourished under Rafa Benitez's guidance last season. I think he played around 13 games, something like that, in all competitions for Newcastle. Obviously, he didn't play the remainder of the last. Well, he didn't play the last couple of months of last season due to a knee ligament injury. He had sustained back in March and all that. Sean Longstaff. So I do believe he's recovering. Recovering to full fitness. But he is only 21 years of age. Sean Longstaff. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. And I do believe if he came to Manchester United, he probably would have all the ingredients required. To become a huge success and all that. But I just don't think he's worth £50 million. So maybe now Manchester United may not want to recommend him in, based on the hefty price tag that Newcastle, have currently put on the player. But yeah, I certainly won't pay £50 million for Sean Longstaff. But like I did say, we've got to currently sell players, to help us generate funds and rebuild the squad. So we've got to sell Diamond and Rojo. I think we can generate around, 25 or £30 million for their departures. I think we've also, sell Pogba, sell Lukaku. We can generate around £200 million at least for their departures. That's going to help us with our transition. Try and get rid of Sanchez. I know the club are finding it very difficult at the moment, to get rid of Alexis Sanchez because obviously, based on his substantial wages, and I think his wages having a really bad effect on the football club. We know now De Gea's staying, which is very, very good news. Obviously, not already giving you the latest news about De Gea. I give you the latest news about him yesterday. We know now, obviously, Juan Mata is staying. I think it did confirm last week that Andres Pereira and also Alex Tuanzebe had signed new deals with Man United. Also, Rashford signed a new 4-year deal with an option to extend it by a further year last week, which was also, very, very good news. But the thing is, with Romelu Lukaku, we do know he's been relentlessly, linked with move away from Manchester United. But like I said, we have put a huge transfer fee on Romelu Lukaku, and basically he has been linked to a move to Inter Milan. It also says now that Juventus have entered the race for Lukaku, but we've said basically, we want. We've said, we want around between 75 to 80 million pounds if we are willing to offload Romelu Lukaku. So basically, the fee seems to be problematic for Inter Milan at this present time. I think Inter Milan are trying to offload a couple of their players, to obviously help them generate funds, to meet that 80 million pound valuation. So basically, we're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for Lukaku from Everton a couple of years ago. Obviously, we got him for 75 million. Obviously, he's our second most expensive signing. The deal did initially rise up to 90 million pounds of add-ons included. Lukaku, of course, has still got 3 years left on his contract term and all that, but I think he is desperate on making a move to Inter Milan. Lukaku's agent recently, gave us an update. I think it was last week, and he basically said Inter Milan are trying to sign Lukaku. They're very, very desperate, but he's classified the move as complicated as Lukaku's agent, because obviously this is based on the huge transfer fee, that we have currently put on him and all that. And reports reflected out last month, saying that allegedly Lukaku had agreed to personal terms with Inter Milan. It also said he had agreed a deal with them worth around £180,000 a week and all that. So this is what he basically said last month. But obviously no fee has yet come to an agreement. Obviously Inter Milan have inquired about getting Romelu Lukaku, on a 2-year loan, with them the obligation to buy at the end of the loan for a further £60 million. But of course, obviously Manchester United won't entertain this offer because we're only willing to let Lukaku go on a permanent deal. Obviously Inter Milan, we're unwilling to accept swap deals that Inter Milan have offered us. They've tried offering us Mario Cardi as part of the deal for Lukaku. They've also tried offering us Ivan Perisic as part of the deal for Romelu Lukaku. But Manchester United, of course, haven't entertained these offers. And so we haven't entertained them current offers. But like I said, Antonio Conte has identified Lukaku as his #1 target. Obviously, recently Lukaku did describe Antonio Conte as one of the best managers in the world, and Lukaku is keen on playing under Antonio Conte's guidance. Reflected back a couple of years ago, Antonio Conte wanted Lukaku, when he was manager of Chelsea, but obviously, he ended up making the move to Manchester United. But we've got to get rid of Lukaku. He's one of the problematic players at the club. You do know that I've got strong reservations about him. I've got strong reservations about him, and obviously he's been at Manchester United 2 years. He scored 42 goals in 96 games for the club in all competitions. He was exceptional in his first season with Manchester United, but obviously they didn't replicate this form in his second season at the club, because obviously since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been recommended in, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's preference has been Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's preferred choice is Rashford, and obviously Lukaku is reluctant to be second choice behind Marcus Rashford and all that. But yeah, like I said, there's been a lot of talk, about Romelu Lukaku, currently leaving, and his agent has held negotiations, with Inter Milan and all that. But it also says now reportedly, Juventus, of course, have entered the race for Lukaku. I think Lukaku's pedigree is still very good in the Premier League. He has scored a lot of goals and all that, and his ratio is good. But I think Manchester United have got to get rid of him. And obviously, there's been quite a few players in our agenda, who could replace him at the football club and all that. We know Valencia's left after he obviously, he served 10 years there with Manchester United. It was good business for Manchester United, getting Wan-Bissaka in as his current replacement. But yeah, and I hope it works out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Don't forget, he is following Alex Ferguson's philosophy, which is very, very good and all that. He was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years under Sir Alex Ferguson. He has got that experience of manager a little bit. He hasn't really got it to the highest level, but I would give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at least a year, to see how things, can work out and all that. So that's mainly everything to update you with, guys. But the main part of this video, was to give you the latest news about Serge Milkovic-Savic from Lazio, who is Serbian, 24 years of age, about 6'3". Manchester United are reportedly in for him. We've identified him as our #1 target, or one of our targets, to replace Paul Pogba. And it did say yesterday from the Daily Mail that Lazio said they wanted around £108 million. But I think either way, if Manchester United even not willing to pay that, he's going to cost us in the excess probably around £80 million. Is this current player? He's a box-to-box midfielder. He can score goals as he has proven, but I think his performances have been inconsistent in the last 5 or 6 months and all that. So do you think he would be the right solution for Manchester United? Manchester United have held talks, or are set to hold talks with Serge Milkovic-Savic's agent, because he has flown out to London, as that did confirm at the weekend. So hopefully, we'll see what happens. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.